What's up, everybody?
Hello.
Trying to get this thing figured out, and I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm getting there. Hopefully it's working. It hasn't come up yet. It's probably gonna start blaring, but I'm trying to check the sound, and I ain't even had time to get my drink. We lost power today at the shop, and I thought we were gonna go home. But by the time we got everything shut down and fixing to head out the door, the power came back on. And I had just went in the office and grabbed my GoPro out of my bag because I remembered I needed to charge it. And as soon as I grabbed it out of the bag, the power died. So I thought I wasn't gonna do Tech Talk tonight. And then I had already got it in my head that I wasn't gonna do it because I decided not to, and it was a little while before the power came back on. Didn't know if everything was gonna get charged in time, but I'm glad I stayed, so we're here. Still been pushing along on the fair lane. I'll go over some stuff on it that I've done, removed, and I was gonna try and make the inner fender pieces, but the brake I have will not break the metal as smooth as I want, so I'm gonna have to get my measurements, and I'm gonna have to go to Piedmont Metal and have them break it. Plus I have a couple parts that I want to break for this, because that's what I'm going to talk about and do a little work on tonight, is this International Scout. I'm not sure what year it is, but I know it's for Elvis, and he built a truck, a cab over an International, and it was at SEMA. It was probably at SEMA last year. I know it was at SEMA the year before, and it was like a big hit. So he had this, and I've been trying to get it blasted so that I could work on it, but I'm going to go ahead and start working on it, even though I need to get it blasted, and I've been kind of worried about it. But he needs this thing done, so I'm going to jump on it. I need Sandy John to show up with some car and pick up some stuff to blast, but I know he's busy and we're behind on cars going out and all that, so. But let's see, everybody's here.
We got Anthony, your dad, my dad, Donald Mann, Gunner, Wes, Ty, Trellis, GT Motorsports, Paradise Bay, and I'll read Paul. Hello guys, thanks for the compliments on the hair. Some vote like it, but I love it.
Brightness up.
Yeah, so we don't have to squint.
Yeah. Oh,
GB and I both have poor vision.
Yeah, mine's. His
is kind of worse than mine because one eyeball don't do nothing.
Yeah, one of them's pretty bad. I gotta go to the refrigerator because I didn't get my beer for tonight.
Oh, look what I'm drinking.
Oh.
Yeah, that's rough. Oh.
Why you drinking that?
I don't have anything.
There's a Coke.
I can't drink Coke.
There's a root beer.
I am not going to drink root beer if it was the last thing.
Because it's what?
If it was the last thing, I would not drink it.
Root beer. She don't like root beer.
I do not like root beer.
How many people like root beer and don't like root beer?
Hello, Rudy, JK, Mr. Cavalier, Lake and Lodge.
Yeah.
And my mom. Hi.
Yeah. So, yeah. If any of y'all, I haven't said it, y'all should go check out Lake and Lodge Garage. He's new with his channel. I think he might have some old videos on there, but I don't think he really pushed it. But an awesome guy, and he gave me a shout out on his channel, and I want to give a shout out on my channel and return the favor. So
you should have seen him light up. He watched the video and he was like, "Oh, babe, look!"
So go check out Lake and Lodge Garage and give him a follow. He's doing some pretty cool stuff. Building a Firebird, I think. Maybe a Camaro. Firebird convertible. And he was actually working on the jig. He's got a pretty cool jig set up on a rotisserie, and I like the way it's adjustable and stuff. So
I like
you can
the
do
way it adjusts.
You can do a lot.
Hey, go! All right, guys, there's a couple of you on here that have a car here. Not gonna call anybody out because it's not my business to put out there on the internet world. But I will say, with our power outage today, I had all these nice notes going through everything so that I could send out updated emails. And when the power went out, my backup didn't do its job. What is that backup? What does that do down in there? It made all kind of noise, but it didn't save my file. So I lost all my notes. So bear with me. I will get to every one of you. I will send out photos and the whole 9 yards, all the updates. Just going to be a little delayed, and I apologize.
Yeah. I was in there getting the camera out the bag when the power went out, and she's like, oh no. I don't know what all I had open on my computer, and she lost it all. So
I had like 5 different spreadsheets open that all did not get saved.
Yeah, I like A&W, but it's expensive. And you can buy the mugs at the Dollar General when you go through the Hobo Trail. You can get 2 mugs root beers for the price of 1 Coke, AMD, or AMD. AMD.
A&W.
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 And what's the other? Barks. So I've been getting the mugs because I can get 2 for the price of 1 of the any other drinks.
And he drinks 13 a day, so.
Shh. But I don't know, but they make a sugar-free one. I haven't found it yet.
We found it online, but it's
they
like
are
$33 for a 12-pack, and I was like, sorry.
Yeah, the sugar-free root beer is ridiculous. So, let's see.
UPS battery backup. I have a battery backup. It didn't do its job, and now I've got to call the IT guy and holler at him a little bit because he's the one that set it all up.
It's a surge protector, and it has surge on one end. It's a big box, and it plugs in, and it went to beeping. But it had surge plugs on one end, and then it had surge plus battery backup on this end, and her computer was plugged into it. So obviously the battery backup in it didn't work.
No, because when the power went out, everything shut down. My phone, my computer, my printer, Wi-Fi, the entire office. And it wasn't just us, and we don't know exactly what happened, but the people across the street, the Dollar General, everybody on the street seemed to have lost power. And then we were going to pack it all in and go home and work in the yard and have some time with the chuppies and play in the pond. But as soon as we were about to shut the door, boom, let there be light. So we all had to start over.
Yeah, and I just got the computer set, or this set up, and trying to get it over here to get started, and was running a little late, and I hollered into Erin and told her to get Pie. And she said no. I was like, what? You don't even know. She's like, I've got to get caught up on all the other stuff we've given away and pay my bill. Because when we give stuff away, we have to pay.
I still have to pay the company so that it's accounted for.
So it's accounted for. Because it was bought with the company,
and
it has to go back, and shipping's not free. And she's like, well, what are you trying to give away? I was trying to give her away.
Don't nobody want me. Sorry.
Oh,
stuck.
Well, I guess you're stuck with I got it in the mail today. The Modern Riding magazine with the second article featuring me, but it has the master himself in there.
Gregory!
Not me, Craig. So Craig's in there with me working on the Galaxy. So I'm going to give that magazine away, and I'll go grab it and show it. So, and I'll talk about it in a minute. I've got to see if I can get the sticker off the front, which if I can't, I got another. it came off.
Yeah, I was about to say it should just. It's
So-
not a sticky sticker.
So, this is it. The newest. If you ain't got it, go out and get it. The car will be featured in it all this year. The next article. This is the upper and lower cowl replacement, and it has me and Craig in it. I think it's like 6 pages. So, and then at the end it says,
I called that car on the front a Monte Carlo earlier today, so
Yeah.
I should have my car experience license.
so at the end it says, it's showing a picture of the floor, and it says 29, and it says next up, replacing the floor pan. Continue our tech series on Project Laura Levine. We show just how to remove and replace the factory floor pan. You will see it here in Modern Riding. So if you haven't picked it up, there's Aaron's Monte Carlo on the front. That's a Monte Carlo on the front. Don't let my dad hear that. You called the Ford Crown Victoria a Monte Carlo.
Whatever.
But
Whatever. Sandy John said that he got our car blasted today. He's on there. Say
John.
hey.
Hey John, love you.
And Rob said that he'll take me and the children.
Uh-oh. All right, Rob. Sounds like a deal. I accept
It's a
PayPal.
package deal
Yeah.
either way, because my chuppies are gonna go with me.
Yeah. So if somebody sees Popeye, and like I say, I can't go out and buy all of them that they have. I wish they would just send me some.
We need a box each month, which would be great.
But they don't.
But we.
So I get 2. What? Well, I do the articles. I shoot the pictures, and I do the work. Like all the pictures in here were taken by me, of me doing the work, and I also did the work. But I get no credit. They won't even send me one with my name on it.
Nope.
They send Aaron one, and they send Craig one.
That's right.
Craig took his home today because he came in for a minute. But I will give this one to somebody. It's Aaron's. That's why I'm giving it away.
I took his.
But I'll sign it,
The one
and
you
if
got from
Craig
Andy.
comes in before I get it in the mail, I'll get him to sign it as well. Because everybody needs Craig's signature, not
And
mine.
FYI, Craig is doing pretty dang good. He's waiting on the last little bit of, I don't know what they are. I don't know if it's blood work or whatever. So the last little report to come in, last little visit to the doctor, and get a little free for all. So this month he is
we got to
quarantining.
block this right here. Something on here. We got remove and I don't know. Report unwanted. Let's see. Harassing. I don't know. I'm trying to figure this
That's
out.
harassing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Sexually explicit.
Don't say that word. YouTube will block you.
Oh. Well, they'll block me for saying it, but
Yes.
but they can post it.
You can't say the SE crossword.
Okay.
Sorry,
So-
guys, got him taken
Yeah.
care of. We had somebody
whatever,
doing some
whatever that
yucky
was.
yuck.
I was like,
Thank
what
you,
are they
Jamie.
even talking about? And then I got to look and I was like, whoa. So
Is the modern riding car back from paint? Mike and Mary, don't jump. Don't jump. It's just in the next episode that came out in modern riding. The car itself hasn't made it back to us, but Juby may have an update for you.
it's not back from paint yet. But I have gotten some pictures, and I can pull them up, but I don't know whether or not you'll see it very good. But it looks awesome from what I can see.
Yes, yes, like chill bumps.
I actually got a few today from the guy that actually did the paint, and then I got some from Rex himself. So let me see, I'm scrolling through here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but we have I wish I could like upload these onto the computer, but
You
the
pay for
trunk.
that video editing equipment and don't use it. I don't know how to use it.
Well, I can if I do it at the house,
Oh, okay.
not live. But this is it.
Well, dang.
Gray top, and the whole car. Well, most of it, the body, the front, and then.
Oh, y'all look at that clean.
The back. Can you actually see it? And then let's see, that was me talking. That was me reading the Bible last night by candlelight. Let's see, some of the Scout. Don't worry, there ain't nothing bad in here. I don't do that in here. But this is it, and I couldn't tell what I was looking at it first. But this is actually the deck lid, and you can see it's been cut and buffed, and they're working on it. So. Could be here any day. Not sure. Yeah, you can't hardly tell what that is in the picture, but that's the roof, and you could see the ceiling in it. Let's see. I was trying to see.
No, Ken, you spelled it right. It is Jamey. You had it right. Jamie said you can't really see it. Well, put your goggles on, boy.
If you'd have stayed here at work, you would have been able to see them good. Let's see. I was trying to see Layton Lodge. Congratulations, Juby. Just subscribe to your channel. Awesome. I'm glad that everybody goes and subscribes and supports everybody. Yeah. That's
community.
That's what it's about, is, you know, supporting each other. And like I say, I'm not a master at nothing. My technique might be different than somebody else's technique, and I enjoy hearing other people's ways of doing things, because theirs might be easier than mine, might be better than mine. So I always like to, you know, look at all of them, and I don't get to see a lot of them much. I try to go on there and at least look at them or view the people that I'm subscribed to, especially if it comes up and it says that they just posted or they mentioned, it notifies me. So I try to go and look at them, and I try to give them some time. And I also like to give a shout out to all the people that have channels like GoGo, and I think GT Motorsports has one. I'm not sure. I have to go check and see if I'm subscribed.
If I don't write them down, I can't remember.
Yeah. So stayed at work, had to go home and press the like button. Looking through the camera looks nothing like the pictures. Yeah, I wish I wish that I could get the pictures on here. But most of the stuff that I have was bought by other people, and I'm grateful for it. I don't have all the expensive computer stuff, and I don't really have the knowledge. I'm sure I could figure it out if I sit and try, but I'm so busy that I can't really figure it out. I mean, the camera that we're using was bought by Miss Denise, Craig's wife. She bought it for me. The gimbal was bought for me by GoGo, along with a lot of other stuff. I guess you could say the tablet, I bought it on the payment plan. I just added it as a line with the phone, so you know, you pay the bill on it. And this setup is working better than my very first setup, which was the big computer and all that here. But this is quick and simple.
But less ability to edit and do commercials. And I don't know if y'all remember the videos where we would do, like, shoot in a little AMD commercial or something like that. We don't have that with the tablet. So I don't know if we would ever move Tech Talk Tuesday to the house, but then it would really just be talking. You wouldn't be able to see the cars, so we do it here.
Yeah, so GT Motorsport says he has a channel, and I actually think I synced it.
You synced it.
The F-350 Ford truck Possibly.
I used to have an F-100.
Paul said humble. I try to stay humble. Like I say, I'm not. I'm nobody really. You know, without God, I wouldn't have people like you guys in my life, and I wouldn't have the talents that I have. I have a guy that's on my Instagram, and he comments on my Instagram sometime. Great guy, love him to death. He comments and says, "No, Juby, it's not God. You did that on your own. That ain't nothing to do with him. You did it on your own," and all this. And I asked him one day. I sent him a message. He has never responded to me. I'm not sure if he's even checked it or not. But I sent him a private message because I usually don't get into that whole battle thing. But I asked him if I said, "Can I ask you a question? Why do you not believe in God?" You know, so it's not really a big deal. You know, whatever people want to do, that's fine with me. I have my beliefs, and I love my Lord, and I try to talk to people. I have a burden for lost people, and if I could have my way, all my friends would be saved, and all the people I come in contact with would know about him and join me for eternity. But anyways, we'll go over here and we'll look at the 66, and we can talk while we're doing that, because we're 20 minutes in, even though I think I was about 5 minutes late. And yeah, so go check out GT Motorsports. Go check out Paradise Bay. Check out Go. If y'all ain't subscribed to those guys, go subscribe to them.
Mr. Fireman.
Mr. Fireman, awesome people, very awesome and humble as well. They give me shout outs all the time. They support me. They've given me stuff. They've sent me stuff. I can't thank them enough. Like I say, you know, if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't have these people in my life. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Him. I mean, I don't know if all y'all know the story of how I ended up here. I'll have to share it one day. So if y'all want to hear it one day, y'all can comment and let me know, and I'll tell that story or at the end of the show. But we'll go work on this, and I'll let Aaron get the camera, and we'll go do something a little bit, even if it ain't right. So the 66, I got the shock tower cut out, removed. I got the inner fender cut out. I actually got the plasma back working. It hasn't worked since I've been here, and I got it working. And it made cutting this thick metal on the shock towers out way better. This side, as you can see, I'm still working on, and it's because I've been shooting this side with the camera, and I have to do a couple pictures step by step of what I'm doing. That side I went ahead and knocked out, folded it, and I was fixing to get the metal to make the inside one piece inner fender. And the metal is 18 gauge. That's what Craig chose to use, and I don't think our roller will roll that thick. I haven't tried because I don't want to mess the metal up. I also don't want to mess the machine up. But I put it in our little 4-foot brake, and it would not bend it. I mean, I folded a piece today just to see, and I ended up folding the edge on, and I'll show y'all what I was planning on doing when I go to the Isabella, to the Scout.
Isabella.
But I've got it cut out, and I've been shooting the pictures, and I'm gonna start doing like the firewall stuff and get that up in there and shoot the pictures like I'm putting the firewall in, because I kind of had to do stuff in order but in reverse. like putting the firewall in so that they can get an article on as if you were just putting a firewall in, how to remove it and how to put the firewall in. And then I have to do one of like the upper cowl and the lower cowl, and I have to take the old one out, put the new one in, then I have to remove it, and it's just, it's a lot to shoot pictures and do the work. If I had somebody here while I was doing the work, taking pictures, then it would be a whole lot easier. But Aaron's like, you can't handle everything by yourself. But to me, I feel like it gets done right if I do it myself, because I don't trust nobody else to do it, because I would hate to be in here cutting everything down and then go put the pictures on the computer and pull them up, and then they not be to my liking, and then I have wasted it and I have to, or it wasn't the angle I needed. So I'd rather just set it up and do it myself and take the extra time to do it right, and I know it's right, and that's just me. But I can't pay somebody to stand up here and take pictures of me doing stuff too. So I'm a one-man show. Well, except for when Erin's here on TikTok, and she does a great job. So, and I love her, and I am very thankful for her. I'll tell y'all a story about that at the end of the show.
You're too sweet.
Another story. But this is Elvis's. This is Elvis. He lives in Florida, and it's his wife's build. So he's building it for his wife. And when I met him at AMD at the Street Trucks show, we got to talking, and I liked his truck, and then we become good friends. And I told him that the next build that he did, I wanted to be part of it, and that I would donate my time and I would help him build his next car. So this one was the next one for his wife, and I'm trying to get it done because he's got like 5 weeks to get the whole truck done into the show. I can't remember what show it's going to, but he's been pushing it, and he's making this thing into like a mini truck. It's going to be a lowered mini truck, International Scout. It's pretty cool, but the corners messed up. I mean, it's shot. The back's coming apart. He wants me to weld in all these holes because it was a mail truck. It actually has U.S. mail
right there
on the side there, and then down the back. But he wants me to weld in the roof rack holes. I'm gonna weld all them up. I guess this was probably an antenna. I'm gonna fix that antenna hole. Other than that, I mean, I'm looking and I'm seeing new stuff that's bad. So I wanted to get it to blast and get it blasted and get it back so I could see what I was left with. But like I say, I know that I got to fix this corner, and my plan is, I tried to break a piece. So this, I had to get the camera. Not that Erin's paying attention. No, she is. I was just saying that.
To pay attention to comments.
She's looking at comments, and it's easier for me to get down here and show kind of the concept of what I'm going to do, or try to attempt to do. It's all cracked and broke and separated. So this piece of angle is separate, and it's welded up here. Well, then this drip rail piece is kind of like Camaros and all of them. It goes in, steps up a little bit, and then flattens back out to the back side. I can't really get up in there to show y'all. It probably wouldn't do no good if I climbed in there. But trust me, it goes back to about right here. If I can get in the camera, I'm sorry, I'm horrible. The drip rail goes back to here. Well, then the roof has a lip on it that curves out. So what I'm planning on doing is grinding the drip rail off, and then cleaning it off the bottom side where the spot welds are, so that I don't mess the roof up. and then I'm gonna remake this, and I tried to break it, and I wanted to make it out of 18 gauge, the thick stuff, because this supports the back window, the back door. So I wanted it to be stiff. There's a piece of angle iron that goes inside of here that these screws, the bolts go to, and then they bolt in up in here too for the hinge. So what I want it to do is I want to make this fold here, this hem, and then a 90 up, and I want it to continue on all the way to this corner. Now, this was separate from this. This corner piece was a whole piece, and then this piece was separate. So to give it strength, I want to make this piece come all the way out to here. I also want it to go back, and then on the inside, this corner piece, there's gonna be an echo. I'm gonna remove this piece, and you can see it's broke, but that piece of angle, I'm gonna make that piece of angle go all the way to the end to give it strength. It actually did from the factory, and it's broke. So I want to remake it, but 18 gauge, and I'm going to repair this corner over here. And hopefully when I repair the corner, it's gonna fix this drip rail all the way to here. They had it brazed. Clean that up, and I'll smooth it. I'm gonna do some hammering and hammer all this out and get it right. And then I'm gonna have it do the same thing on this side. It's gonna come all the way over and to here, and it might have to stop out here where it's flat. I'm horrible with the camera. I'm gonna give it back to Aaron because I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, I plan on doing that. But I pulled the, I don't know what this could be, the back window, the lift gate, whatever. So I got it over here, and it is horrible. I think it's about as rusty as most of the Mopars that come in here, our Camaros. But yeah, this is it, and it's pretty bad. I mean, it's gone, and like, I don't know how they put the mechanism in here. I guess they put it in before they sandwich these two together and spot weld them. So I'm removing these pieces. Let me get my safety glasses on. Like, I don't want
We've got
to
a
mess my eyes up.
guy from Flyover, Nebraska named Larry. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Wes said, "Tell it again, Juby. Great story."
Which one?
I don't remember.
Oh, the story about me and how I got here.
Yeah.
So
Hold on. Dennis said, "Always down to hear someone's testimony."
Well,
Ben Dodge is here. Hey, hey! He said he's late again. Minnesota winter won't give up.
uh-oh.
And by the way, you were one of the ones that you may have missed it. Our power went out today, and I had been updating all the files and getting photos ready to send out, and the power went out. I think somebody hit a power pole, and I lost all of my updates, so I kind of gotta start over. But I think I sent you an email. I tried to send out some emails, but I didn't get everybody. So if I haven't got you an email out, I'll get you tomorrow.
Yeah, I got some different gloves on.
Dennis said, "None of us are guaranteed tomorrow. Making memories with and for your sons is priceless."
Yeah, that was the whole reason I started the Galaxy build, was because I know my dad, we had a thing, and he's got a testimony too, but he was basically gone. They said that he was dead, and he wouldn't come out. He was in a coma, and they told my mom that she needed to make a decision to pull the plug, that he wasn't gonna make it, and my mom said, "No, I'm not gonna pull the plug." They gave her, after so many days, they gave a they told her that she had to pull the plug. I don't know what it is, ultimatum. Yeah, so they told her that she had to pull the plug or find somewhere to carry him, that his insurance was running out. And she went home. She come back the next morning, and they asked her if she had made a decision, and she said, yeah, I'm gonna keep him on life support. And they said, Miss Mays, he's not coming back. There's no need in keeping him on life support. We've told you. And she said, well, I'm keeping him on life support. He'll be back. And they said, well, how you know that? And she said, well, he came to me in a dream and told me that he'd be back. Well, my dad came back. I think it was actually that night he came back, and he's been here. And they said, well, it was a miracle, but he'll never do anything. He'll never walk, talk. He'll be bedridden the rest of his life. My dad does everything. I mean, he rides motorcycles, flies planes, does it all. And I was down one weekend hanging out, and me and him went to go get pizza for everybody back home, and he told me that he was gonna die, and I was like, you're not gonna die? And he said, yes. He said, I'm gonna die, son. And I was like, no, you're not, Dad. And this is back when COVID first came out, and he said, if I get COVID, I'm gonna die. And I was like, you're not going nowhere. And he said, son, I got a letter in my phone for you. When I die, read it. Read what I wrote. Find your name and read what I wrote you. And I said, Dad, you're not going nowhere. And it upset me, and I felt bad. And I got back to the house, and I had decided then that I was going to go find a 64 Galaxy to build for my dad, so that I would have something from him, because he's got a lot of stuff. He's got a Harley. He's got me and Aaron gave him his first Harley.
Well, on the way there, Aaron laid it down in the driveway.
Yeah. So
because I don't know how to operate those things very well.
So I decided then that I wanted to buy my dad a Galaxy, and I wanted to build him a 64 Galaxy. He's always loved them. He's always talked about it, and there's nothing really that my dad has that I want. I mean, I would be glad if something happened to him, I would be glad to have the stuff that he has.
This will just be a special thing.
I would rather have my dad than anything. And me and my dad are so much alike that we can't get along very long. But
work together.
Well, we can't work together. I'm not going to say get along. We
fine.
Get along. But he's always talked about cars. He's never had one like I like older cars. He's had some second gen or third gen Camaros.
Trans Am.
But when I was born, he had a Bandit Black and Gold Edition Trans Am, and he got rid of it when I came along in '79. But he's always talked about it. He's talked about cars that my grandfather had, and he would talk about the Galaxy and stuff. So I made it a point that I was going to come home, and I was actually looking for a 56 Ford truck at one time, but then he said that he'd rather had a Galaxy if he could have any car. And I found the 64 Galaxy and decided to build it, and that's how the Galaxy in the magazine come about. I was just going to build a black body and put the factory motor back in it, just clean it up a little bit, get it running, give it to him, and go hang out with him on the weekends. And it would give me an excuse to go hang out with my dad, because I knew my time was short with him. So I would go hang out with him and work on it. Well, it turned out that Modern Riding wanted to use it in the magazine, and then it was aMAYSing, and all this stuff came about with it, and that's how it ended up to where it is. And I was like, well, now I'm giving my dad a finished car. That's not the purpose that I had intended. But it turns out I didn't make SEMA. It got held up by a couple of things, and it didn't make SEMA. But I'm kind of glad now, because now at that time I was rushing to get it done, because I was going to give it to my dad at SEMA as a whole car, and we wouldn't be able to work on it together. But now he already knows it's his, and it was given to him, and it's not done. Now it gives me that chance to go hang out with my dad and spend time with him and build this car and get some his touches. Even though he designed everything about the car, the colors, he picked them, he had input on it, the wheels, all that stuff. It's all there, but that's still not the kind of input I want. I want my dad's touches. I knew off the rip when I first started doing it, there was no need in buying the dash knobs and stuff, because I knew he was going to go make billet aluminum ones, customize it. So he did the tubbing of the rear end. He did the side exhaust on it. He's doing some other stuff. But anyways, we're going to do all that together. We're going to finish putting it together as soon as it comes back from paint.
We had someone find Popeye. He's right over there on the tripod. Anthony Nolasco found him.
Uh-oh. Yeah, so I had my camera over here today because like this is what I had to set it up on and use to take pictures.
So Anthony, send me your address to, I'll put my email right here.
So,
and we'll get you that magazine out.
but this thing's pretty rotted and dented, and I'm not sure what route I'm going to do. There's a spot right here. So what I'm thinking about is I don't have a way to recreate this flange in here to hold the window, and then the bottom's rotted, the bottom down through here. So what I think I'm going to do is end up breaking a piece that will basically be like this box. I'm trying to get over here, Aaron's typing, so basically I'm thinking about breaking a piece and making this box, measuring it all out, making this box, and then I'm going to cut in here and I'm going to see what's holding this this in. I think it's probably spot welded, and I can't see no spots, but I think it's probably spot welded onto here. But I'm going to make this box, and then I'm going to, if I can make the box and I see that it looks good and it's going to work, then I'm going to cut this box off. I'm going to try and hammer out the front because it's still pretty solid. I think it'll work out. There's a dent right here. I'm gonna try and hammer that out when I get it open, and I'm gonna end up having to cut around this lip, and when I put my box in, I'll have to weld mine into that all the way around and then smooth it to give it that, because I can't recreate that unless I make it into like 3 or 4 different pieces, and that'll look like crap. So I don't want it to be that way. So I'm gonna cut into it. I want to cut into it right now, as a matter of fact, if I can find my...
Talking about Minnesota weather earlier, your dad said he's already cutting grass here in Georgia, and GT said he mowed his grass in January.
Oh,
I think we haven't hit 80s yet, but we got up in the 70s a couple of times. Yeah, almost got there.
So yeah, this thing here, it's pretty bad, and I want to this whole bottom lip's got to get recreated. So either way, if I can't make it, I'm probably going to end up just making a flat piece, break it down, and then I'll cut it off along this edge and along the edge up here, and I'll just make this piece and leave these side pieces where the hinge hooks, or not the hinge, but the support, and I'll end up laying it up here and I'll weld it in. But I want to at least get into here and try and get some of this rust out. I think he'll probably end up at some point later down the road trying to find a better door and fix it and put it on there, just like the Galaxy. They don't make the deck lid, and one of my episodes I ended up making the deck lid. I cut a whole piece out of another one and put in it, and it's not as good as I would want it to be. It'll probably last the rest of my life. I know my dad's life, my life, probably my kids, but I just know that I had to piece that thing together.
Let me go look at Popeye. We got some discussion about he was in your acetylene cart, and there's no Popeye over there, guys. Popeye's right here. There's a Popeye, Popeye, Popeye. And for anybody that's joining that hasn't heard the story of Popeye, he is Craig's late brother. So this is how we keep his memory alive. Popeye hangs out with us here in the shop. Keeps Juby in line.
Yeah, keeps me in line. Popeye, he keeps me in line. Popeye goes on vacation and stuff.
He does. He packs bags and flies to California and traveling, man.
Yeah, I don't want to cut it too bad. I know I got to cut the rust out, but I don't want to cut too much to where it's impossible to fix. So I can see the spot welds now in the light, but I want to cut this corner out so I can look in here, because I don't know how they got this stuff in. I'm gonna cut a little high because I think there might be a solid piece there. Some pretty thick stuff. So yeah, some of it came out. So I don't know if anybody's on my Facebook or Instagram or anything like that, but we're talking about doing C10s. And I've actually found a C10 to possibly do some work on.
Gunner said you better get measurements first.
I forgot to get, you know what? Since I ain't got measurements, I'll just make it to my making. You know, I might have to, I'll take the,
take the old highway. Oh, not that song?
Yeah, so exactly what I said. I knew when I was cutting, the way it felt, that I was cutting something thicker than what I was originally cutting. So it's kind of a corner bracket in there, and it's up inside, so
you can kind of see it hooked down there, and it comes
up, and then it holds this latch piece, which is not working. He gave me the little,
ooh, be careful,
the little knob here, so that I can work it.
Oh, look at that. Wiggy wiggy.
So I might be able to recreate the whole thing. I would like to. I don't know.
Gunner said, Juby got 6,235 measurements for a Camaro, but none for this panel.
Yeah. Got to be more careful.
Get him.
I don't need no measurements. I don't even need no Camaro measurements. I can build it. I can build it blind.
Finish your C10 story.
Oh yeah, so found a C10, and hopefully we'll get it here soon. I gotta build a jig, and I plan on kind of building a jig that'll be on a rotisserie. That way I can build the whole cab and roll it and do all the welding and stuff. So it'll be kind of a rotisserie style jig.
There's some more time to think.
Yeah, there's more time, and I think I want to make it to where I can do, on one side of the rotisserie I can do certain year models, and then on the other side I want to be able to do, even though I'm one of those that preaches about don't build your car on a rotisserie.
Do not build your car on a rotisserie.
And I preach that because I hear people, oh yeah, I got a full rotisserie build, and when they do that, when they say that to me, it instantly screams that
Sag.
that the car is not built right.
Hey, Miss Pat.
I'm not saying it can't be done, but I'm just saying that from experience with cars and having them on rotisseries and stuff like that, they bend, especially cars like Chevelles that are made to sit on a frame, and when they're on the frame, you have to do bushings and spacers and get the frame right to be able to get the door jambs right and stuff like that. Then you got long cars. It's just building it when you cut everything loose and you got it on a rotisserie and it's supported at one end and at the other end, the car sags, and it makes it horrible to try to put together the car and put quarter panels and fit gaps and stuff, because you'll get it, I'm sure you can get it perfectly good on there, but I guarantee you when you take it off the rotisserie and sit it down on the ground, the gaps are going to go to heck. So I personally don't. The jig is the only way to build it, and they're not hard. You can build the jig for cheaper than you can buy the rotisserie for. Them auto twirlers, them things, $6,000 or better. You can buy a couple $100 in some steel and wheels, and you can make it to where the jig is adjustable. A Camaro jig will do 67, 68, 69. Camaro Firebird, and then all you gotta do is change the back two uprights and the front two uprights, which if you just made them a little longer, it'll accept the Novas. So and then all the E-bodies, Cudas, Challengers, they all fit on the E-body table. They're all the same floor. And then the B-bodies, the Cornets, the Satellites, the Chargers and GTXs, they all fit on the same table. So, but I don't do the rotisserie thing. It's, to me, I mean, it's just my opinion. So, but yeah, we're planning on getting the C10 here, and
the one we did have here was a 79, and I don't think that's the year that we want to start with, not the year range. We're doing, what, 62 to 60, I can't remember, something to 72.
60 something to 72. Whatever year range for you C10 guys.
Yeah, we're learning, we're learning.
So we're learning. I built one, well, not a C10, just before C10 years, which fits 60. I think, or 61. I did a 59 Apache. So
it's either 66 or 67.
I can build the
maybe.
trucks. I just been kind of staying out of that and, you know, building what we know. Not saying that I can't, because I do all the odd cars that come in. The 66 Fairlane, we don't build these. I built the table to build these. You got to start somewhere. The Mustang did the same thing. It came in, I built a jig, I'm gonna build it. I built 55 Chevys, I built Alphas. Yeah, I would say that would be good, as long as, like Lakin Lodge has a rotisserie, and he has it's set up to where all the stuff can move. I like that setup. To me, I think I would try to add some bracing to it, but I really don't know how you would, for what I'm picturing right now with his, and you guys can go subscribe to it and check it out, the rotisserie thing. It's awesome. I mean, it's fully adjustable. You can move everything where you want. But I think I would try to make a jig for the bottom side of it that would be removable for certain cars, because you couldn't make it solid if you moved everything to the position for a Camaro. But if you made just a bottom jig piece, the two rail system like our main cart bodies are made out of, that would bolt on are either just one extra piece down here, and then if he could stick it up underneath or flip the rotisserie over before he puts his car on it and bolt all that up to give it some bracing or some more support so that it don't sag in the middle, because I think that he's going to run into issues with the car wanting to sag and his body line at his door is going to be closed, and he's going to fight to get the quarter down and get it around the wheelhouse and get it to line up with the tail panel, because the car is going to be sagging, because the floor, the frame rail section here and all that being so heavy and it's stretched out so far, it's just going to sag.
It'll want to droop a little bit.
And I would try to figure out a way to make something that would bolt onto it that would take some of that sag out of it. And I know I tell you guys that on the Camaro jig, my rear uprights, they bolt into the hangers, spring hangers. And I usually have it bolted in, but I leave it loose because there's a tolerance. If the frame rail's up a half an inch, it's not going to change anything about the car, because it's a leaf spring. It's not gonna, the shackle, a half inch is not that bad in this area. So I always leave that bolt loose. I always try to build it with my floor or my frame rail sitting all the way flush on the bottom of it. But with the way the quarter panels and aftermarket panels and stuff are, the radiuses and the gaps and all the different components and all the curves and stuff are not always 100% accurate to the factory. So I usually, probably 90% of the Camaros that I built, every one of them, and we do it with the E-bodies and the Chevelles too. I bet if you go back there and look at the Chevelle right now, it's probably got blocks under it. But the door gap is always tight or always open at the top, and it's tight at the bottom. So we shim it up in the back, and I don't ever go over a half inch, but I stick a half inch block in it, and just a half inch will close that gap tremendously. We can walk back there. I guarantee that the Chevelles probably got them, because that's just how it is. And I have put factory Camaros on the table before they got cut down, and they float in the back. I mean, I've seen them as much as like 3/4 or an inch. That could be from overtime of it working stuff up, or it could just be something that the factory did. I never seen it in the manual, which I've never seen a Camaro build manual anyways. But let's see. It's got them. Exactly. So you see the rear bolts in the Chevelle, we leave them, these have a stop on them, and that's so we can pry it up and stick one in there. And it don't change nothing about the way the car is, except for it fixes the gap. And you can see on it right now that it's still tight at the bottom, and it's still kind of open at the top. But if that shim wasn't in there, and that's as tight as that is right there, you can only imagine what this is. But I can tell right now that at the bottom of the door, the gap looks good. The whole length here is pretty even, but I can tell the bottom of the door angles back. So most of that tightness right there is in the door, which this is an aftermarket door.
And we do not do seam sealer here. That is saved for the body shop paint guys.
Yeah, so the same with this door, and it's the gap's pretty good, and then at the bottom it's tight. Now if you put a shim in it, make sure you put a shim on both sides. Don't shim just one side. Shim both sides. If your gap on that side's bad, the gap on this side's good, still shim it. It's easier to work the quarter panel down and get the gap back right at the top than it is to work the quarter panel forward, especially when you're up against your drip rails. I've had to hammer the flanges on the Chevelles and on Camaros mainly. On my video of fitting the quarter panel, I hammer that flange back so that it'll give me more room to get that quarter panel to come down, because the cars were built with each individual part. They were built with the parts that they have. That's why I say it's a whole lot easier for me to build a whole Camaro, because I put the parts where they fit in reference to the part that was made. If you got a Camaro that comes in and the drip rail was fit to a roof that was stamped on line B and the quarter panel was stamped on line A, it might be different than the ones that stamped where they did 6 million quarters over here and on this one machine, and this one's count is down at 100. You're gonna have a sharper, cleaner quarter, and everything's gonna fit a little better. So when they built the car, they put the quarter panel up there and they fit everything to those pieces. Starting with the door, they fit the quarter with that door, that quarter with that door, fit the roof on. So when you pull the quarter panel off, it's not that simple just to throw another quarter panel on there, because the car wasn't built with that quarter panel. It was built with a different one. That's like doors. You get a factory door. Oh, I want factory doors on my car. You buy a factory door and take a factory door off of your car and put a factory door on it. I bet you it don't line up like it's supposed to.
I'm sure some of our viewers have tried that or come across it some kind of way, having a door from a different car of the exact same year, make, and model and try to put it on a different car. If it wasn't built on that car, it's not going to fit on that car, even if it's the exact same year, make, and model.
That's why I tell our customers that
it requires work.
If you plan on building your car and you plan on buying a set of doors later or a deck lid later, you're going to have problems. If you're going to do all that, go ahead and buy the doors now, so I can build your car to fit your door
doors,
and fit your quarter
lid
panel,
yes,
or fit your deck lid, because they're all different. It takes knowledge and finessing, and you have to just learn the tricks of how to do it. And that's why this channel's here, is for me to help show you what I do daily to put these cars together. And I see 4 cars a month. We build, a lot of people build cars and it takes them years to build one car. Here at the shop we have Jamie, Devin, Brandon, and me. Each one of us build one car a month by ourselves.
Remember the A-body? It's almost done, and y'all remember it last week. There wasn't hardly nothing to it. And
that's the A-body. It's on the lift. It's got I can lift it up. It's got level 3. Hopefully the bottom don't look like crap, and I'm fixing to show y'all something that I'm just playing. I know it looks good. I'll show you anything in the shop anytime you want to come. Let me check it, because I don't want to drop it, even though I know it's on here. I hate, that would be horrible.
Yeah. That close to the finish line and then drop it?
Yeah. Because I try to stay away from everybody's car. I check them off, I go and I help them problem solve and do stuff with them, but I'm a firm believer that if you start a car, you finish the car. That way nothing gets forgot. When you got a bunch of people, when Jamie started, he would want to help me and hold this and hold that, and I'm like, look, just let it go. I build them by myself. Everybody here builds cars by themselves. We know how to hold them, we know how to move it, we know where we want to go with it. So, but I like to keep one person on one car, because if you get a couple people on one car, things get missed. Now, if you're one person, you're working on it, you tend to not miss it. And I try to concentrate on doing one thing at a time. Get everything mocked up, start welding the front, finish out the front end, get it done, get it welded, get all the spot welds, get all the plug welds, get everything taken care of, get it in paint, and then work your way back. That way nothing gets forgot and I check it off.
And we can't do a checklist per se that includes everything, because every single build has different checks to, you know, boxes to check. Not everybody has this, not all cars get that. Level 1, level 2, level 3, quarter build, you know, they all vary. Lake and Lodge Garage said that is exactly on his list of things to do this weekend, is to truss that baby up.
Yeah, I like the setup, like totally love the setup, but I would try to figure out a way to bolt something to the bottom side to stiffen it up to keep it from sagging, because I feel like you'll have some issues. But other than that, I really do. I love it. I like the way it is, and that's my plan with the jig that I have the Mustang on. Is I got a jig. It's some I-beam, big heavy I-beam, and I got a jig that I used to build the Alpha on, and I bolted it, and I set that thing aside, because if I have it like this one right here, if I have this section, this one here with these, like I said, this one's not done. I'm gonna put another car on it and check it on another car, because don't never know if this car was wrecked or anything. Even though all my measurements pulled out right, they're all even numbers, they're not, one's not an odd one on my measurements, but I'll end up gusseting all this. But if you made this bottom platform, which is just this square, if you made that and then had this upper section by itself with the uprights on it, you could just have it where it sits on there and it bolts to it, and you wouldn't have no issues. And then you can make it versatile, and you wouldn't have to build all this bottom part. You would just build this top piece and you set it on there and bolt it. And that's kind of what I'm doing with that I-beam cart. It was here when I started here. It's a big heavy thing. It's probably the most expensive cart we got. But I'm making it to where it's versatile, and I can build just the top jig part, set it on there, bolt it in, and then build it out. And so now I've got a Mustang one, and I have an Alpha one, which I probably won't do an Alpha again.
Paul and Gogo both said that it takes them years to build one car.
I gotta go help Gogo on my way to help Charlie. I can't, because Gogo, he is a perfectionist, and I'd probably just get in his way. Even though I'm perfectionist, but he takes it to a whole nother level.
And he said that in another comment. Gogo is very meticulous, and I like it.
Yeah, but he's like me in a way. When I run stuff, if I don't run it a certain way, I'm like, if I put a strap on the car, if it's got a twist in it, I gotta unhook it and flip the twist. It irks me when stuff's like that. But
when we build these cars and you fine tune it down, and you've got a pro spot, and you know this, that, and the other, and you know what the tolerances are, you know what parts to be super meticulous in, and you know the parts, like you were just talking about the frame rail, where you can let it float a little bit.
Yeah. So this one, they did away with the shock tower, and I don't know what they're planning on doing it, but they wanted the inner fenders in. Me personally, I would have smoothed it like I'm going to do on the 66, but they wanted it, and that's what they got. They cut all this stuff off before it came here. I have no clue where it's at. They wanted the level 3, so they got the stiffeners here. We put them in. It got torque boxes, so it's got the torque boxes in. It got frame connectors, which are these. So we put the frame connectors in. It got the rear torque boxes, and then it got the spring relocators. So these move it in, because this car was mini tubbed, and it got the spring relocators. And we had a question about the spring relocators. Whenever you put in the spring relocator, does the spring stay in the same position? It does, because the plate that bolts here ends up, the spring eye or bolt goes in back here. So all it's doing is moving that location over. And you can actually still bolt in your factory spring hanger. I don't know how you'd get the bolt or how it would work. We leave it open so that we can put the casters on that USCT makes, so the caster will still go on here. But this just moves the spring over. You use the same spring. I have a flashlight.
That's good. We're good.
We're
at 28%. Just talk it through.
I'll grab it.
Oh my goodness.
I forget. And I had to show out. Where's he being at?
Who? Flatlight.
Yeah, I know he got
Albert.
Albert. I know he got this because the way he comments. But somebody sent me this flashlight, Snap-on.
Somebody knows and still hasn't told Juby, so whatever he knows, he's just guessing.
I would say that they probably had money and bought it outright, but me, I'd still be paying on this thing next year, because I'm sure it wasn't cheap. But it's pretty cool light, and it's got a magnet. So, and I worry because some of the guys come and get my tools, and I'm picky about people using my tools. And I see them over here and they got my flashlight and they got it hanging and they're beating and banging and all I can see is it dropping and it breaking. Then I'm gonna be mad. But anyways.
Buy your own tools, boys.
The spring relocators, and then the rear ones are back here and they just get cut in to the frame rails. So the other one bolted and had a piece. So they just get welded in and cleaned up. So, and then like I say, mini tub, he's got some cleanup to do, some welds, and then the torque box in, and the frame connectors. This one kept the floor, it kept a lot of stuff. And front torque box, and then like I say, the I guess they would be inner fender support. I can't remember. I know what they're called.
They're inner fender braces.
Inner fender brace. And I'm not sure if it's getting the front. It should, maybe. It's probably over there on his cart, but it'll get a piece of lower radiator support.
I don't think he did that part because he wanted to keep the original metal. So
that's that. Aaron says we're kind of low on the battery.
We're at 26. We got a little bit.
But put that back. But hopefully I answered the question. Yeah, because Aaron said about that. But
yeah, that was for Mr. Mark Davis. I will send him an email with the link because I haven't seen him watching today. I know he does watch.
Yeah, that was Mark. If y'all haven't checked out, it's Mark's Machine Shop on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
He has a Lincoln, I can't think of what, Mark 5, Mark 3, Mark something, but it's an old Lincoln like the one Kennedy was killed in. It's not a suicide door Lincoln, but it's that same body style, but it's a 2-door, and he takes that thing to a track and it runs like 7s or something. It is ridiculous.
It's crazy.
There's a video
he beat
of
a
him.
supercar.
He's outrunning Lambos, outrunning Coyotes. I mean, just it's a bad car.
And it's my kind of car because it's just like this presidential beast of a car.
He's got the flags hanging off the back like presidential and stuff, and president in the back window and stuff, and it's awesome.
He's such a humble, down-to-earth guy. I love him. I know some of y'all have said something about my accent before. I just love to listen to Mr. Davis talk. Yeah,
and he makes some hot sauce, and he sent it to us in one of our things. So, but we'll I guess we'll sit over here, and I don't know, because it's about ready to die.
It's 8:15, so.
But
and we did a lot. You did a lot of
talk, and a little bit of work. Erin's trying to get it perfect because she knows I'd go crazy with it. But
he lives with me, which is a fan of asymmetrical things, and he likes everything 90 degree.
Yeah.
I wanted to do this because I think it looks better, but he wants it to be perfect.
Like when I put
And
the
I am
car,
not.
if you go back here and you look at the cars and the ones that's sitting here, if you look at the floor, I bet you they're in line. Like it's in line with the grooves on the floor because I have to have it straight. So
He even put tape on the floor for the parts carts, and if they're not inside of their designated area, there's a problem.
yeah. Is this the fair lane?
No, the car on the lift, that is the
car
dart.
on the lift is the dart.
The car beside it is the fair lane that we got down and was showing you the jig. That is the fair lane.
So, yeah, let's see. Yeah, hopefully one day I can get back to.
Oh, thank you, GoGo. GoGo just put Mark's link on there. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
Lincoln Continental Mark III.
Yeah, Mark III. It's crazy. It's a sleeper for sure.
It
like,
is.
I seen it. I was like, man, that thing's crazy. I show everybody.
He had his car built here, and it was a Mopar, and he comes pulling in a big old Dodge truck, and I'm like, this is gonna be my best friend. And then he gets out of his truck with a Ford jacket on.
With a Ford jacket on.
And I was like, Juby's best friend.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, awesome guy. Everybody I meet's awesome.
Yeah.
I had.
God really has put some amazing people in our path lately. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, I was talking to the guys. I go to a micro group on Tuesdays at 11:30. Me and a bunch of guys from church go to this diner called the Salty Cafe, and we go there and eat, and we've been reading the Apostles' Creed, and we read a chapter each week, and then somebody in the group has to discuss about it. But we were there, and I was telling everybody that I used to be the quiet guy. Like, you can ask my dad. I was the quiet, shy person. I wouldn't talk. I would just, when I was in school, I wasn't a very much people person, but God sure changed me. I don't shut up now. If you ask my dad, he says I talk too much. But Erin, she knows that wherever I go, it's going to be a long time. She says, you don't meet no strangers. And I was talking to the guys in the group today about me going out and talking to people, and I don't meet strangers. And I always, if somebody dislikes me, I always say, I wish they would just give me a chance to get to know me and to know my heart and the person that I am, and they'll realize that nothing else matters. It's me on the inside and the type of person I am. Because I had somebody comment on a video or on I think it was a video, but anyways, they commented and said there's no way I would let a man with a man bun build my car.
Y'all, it ate him up
and
for
I'm like,
days.
Really? Like, because I can't stand for somebody to dislike me or hate me. I hate for people to be angry at me, because I feel like I'm the type of person that would do anything for anybody, anytime, anywhere. And I don't have to brag on myself to say that I'm that way. Ask anybody that knows me. That's me. I'll do anything for you, give you anything that I got.
But you wear your heart on your sleeve, and you take things personally when it's just some keyboard warrior out there. Don't worry about it. I get flack about my weird hair and my tattoos, and Jesus.
I mean, I'm not worried. That's what I've gotten that way now to where I don't. I'm like, well, that's your loss, because you could have had a really good friendship with me.
And if they let you build their car, they'd have a bad built car. Like, bad as in good, Your talent's not in your hairstyle. Your talent's not in your personal style at all. It's all about quality, and if you know your work and you have pride in what you do, you typically put out good work. So if people would just, I don't know, I guess like our church was one of the ones that really made me feel fantastic, like walking in the door. And people here in general, which I'm so glad we moved up here, I don't get the same kind of judgment that I've gotten in other places, because I am the girl with the weird hair. It's either colored or dreaded or who knows, and I'm covered in tattoos. And you walk in a Southern Baptist church with dreadlocks and a sleeve, sometimes you get a weird look, but not here. Everybody was like, come here and give me a hug. And y'all, I had to learn how to like that too, because I'm not really a touchy person, but I am now. I
even told her when we started there, I said, you're going to be singing in the choir. And she's like, no, I'm not
gonna happen.
I said, yeah, you are. And she sings in the choir now. So.
Y'all, and I'll be up there bouncing, having a good time.
And she gets up there dancing. Yes, she does. I just told Pastor Jim about that.
Oh, and have you noticed when I come back into the sanctuary after choir that me and Pastor Jim fist bump every Sunday morning?
Oh, man. That's my pastor.
No.
I'm checking the time here.
Checking your percentage.
Oh yeah, it's at 17%. But
Gunner said that Mark probably had a Chevy keychain too. No. He's Ford and Mopar only. I will say that.
Chevy keychain.
Your dad said when you tell a story, you tell it all. The biggest heart in the world. Yes, and we love you for it.
To be the Jedi pedal master. I love that, and I wanted to comment on your video when you posted that. I was like, how did he know I like Star Wars?
Yeah, we have not watched the new Mando yet, and it's been out for like a week.
Yeah, I need to go home and watch Mando. Like, I am like, you can ask my dad. I used to have Star Wars, like, my whole room was Star Wars, and I ended up getting rid of all that stuff, and I totally regret it. But then I'm kind of like, imagine what it would be now. There would be so much Star Wars stuff that I got from the time I got rid of it to now. My whole life would be Star Wars.
I have never watched not 1 second of anything Star Wars related. But I did, when I was a little girl, have R2-D2 underwear. But when we started dating, I think like a first year or so in, he's like, you gotta watch it, just give it a shot. Hooked immediately, and now.
Yeah. So,
whatever.
But yeah, I'll run through.
Mando is great.
I'll run through the story. I love Mando. He has always been like one of my favorites before the big Mando craze. But we lived in Edenton, Middle Georgia, and I, for some reason, got the wild hair that I wanted to. I'd always said I wanted to live in the mountains. Erin. No,
I'm not. Salt water.
She's
and
like
hot.
Salt water, hot. I don't want no cold, no nothing. I've always been the outdoors, mountain survival guy, and so I told her we were at a function, camping and stuff one weekend, still down in Middle Georgia area, not the mountains camping, but just camping, hanging out with some friends. And I told Erin, I was like, we're moving to the mountains. It just came to me that we were moving to the mountains, and she's like, okay, sounds good. When are we going? I said, I'm leaving today. I'm leaving in the morning. It was actually nighttime. The very next morning, it was a Sunday. I had my Humvee. It was fully loaded, just like my Jeep stays. And I left from there 3 hours away, 3.5 hours, whatever it was. And I drove up here, got a job Sunday night. I left at like 12 o'clock. I got up here around 3 or 4 o'clock. I got a job on a Sunday, and then I went and found a state park national forest. I found a national forest in the area, and I went back in the woods and I set up camp. And I lived in the woods primitive for a month and a half or so until Erin moved up. Erin,
6 or 7 weeks, something like that.
She would come up and visit every other weekend or every weekend.
But
and
I stayed behind because I had to put in a 2 weeks notice because I was working at Geico and I was hoping that I would be able to transfer. Geico's fantastic if you don't know. I don't know about the insurance, but to work for that company was great. But they didn't have a place up here, so I had already said, yeah, let's go. And then I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to find a new job. But anyway, got all the stuff out of the house, got the puppies, threw them in the truck, came up here and stayed for a week, got 5 job offers in the whole week that I was up here. So I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. And then after we got it all said and done, we bought a camper and lived in it for over a year and cooked outside, and now we're back outside.
I didn't have to give no 2-week notice. I was driving a wrecker repoing.
Yeah.
So I was the repo man.
Just no more repos.
I'm glad to be out of it. I love doing it, but now the way my heart has softened, I don't know if I could go do it now.
And it really, like him being out repoing at all hours of the night in some pretty sketchy neighborhoods had me nervous at home too. So I'm very thankful for God pushing me to move to the mountains instead of the beach.
Yeah. So I stayed up here. She moved up. She obviously wasn't gonna live primitive like me because I was showering in the creek every night.
No.
And
I need hot water.
I was going to work, and all the guys at work were calling me Backwoods Fabio and Tarzan and all this. But we lived in a camper for a year, and we found a house we stayed in for like a year. We were trying to buy. My credit wasn't very good. I'd never had credit, and I was trying to establish credit in my 40s, and was working on that. That house fell through. It was a blessing. But I was working for a company, and I did a video in a room where there was like millions and millions of spiders, and I sent it to a friend of mine that was terrified of spiders. Didn't say where I was at or nothing. You couldn't even tell. It was just like me standing in a closet, and there was millions of spiders, and I had the camera. And I ended up getting fired from that job because of that video, which nobody found out about the video. I told on myself that I had did it. That's a whole nother story. But anyways, I told on myself, and I got fired. I was headed to Florida to hang out with some of my club brothers with the motorcycle club for a brother's weekend. I didn't tell Erin that I'd lost my job. I came back Sunday evening, and my ankle was swollen in my shoe. I'd done laid my bike down, had my ankle swollen, probably broke it, don't know 100% because I didn't go to the doctor.
Is that when I was Germantown?
And she was at a German restaurant doing waitressing, and I told her, I said, yeah, by the way, my leg, but I also lost my job. And she said, well, what are you gonna do? I said, I'm gonna find a job. Well, I looked online, and I found this place, and I filled out the application online. I came up here, I found them on Facebook. I was sending them messages. I was like, I need this job. This is me. You need to hire me. I come up here. I was on my motorcycle. I talked with the guy in the office. He walked me through the shop. I left, and one of the guys that was working in here at the time was like, I know you ain't gonna hire the guy with the man bun. And I called him, and he said, well, I got some more interviews this week. I'll let you know something. On my way home, I had a flat tire on my bike. I was sitting on the side of the road. I called him, and I was like, man, you got to let me get this job. This is me. I didn't have no background in it besides my little building my cars at home, you know, in my time, like a lot of you guys do. That's the only experience I had. And I was like, I need this job. This is me. I know 4 days a week, all Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I got this. He said, all right, come in for a working day. I come in, and I started in that back corner. By lunchtime, probably 2 hours, 3 hours in, he called me in the office. He said, hey, we want to offer you this. Will you take it? And we want to know when you can start. And I said, yes. I took the job. I started low, But I also told him in there that day, I said, if this is the highest position in this shop, I'm coming for it, so you better be ready. And I've been here a little over 3 years, and now I run it. So I held to my promise when I was in there, and I'm not bragging about myself, but
no, but that's our work ethic.
That's how I am.
Like what I did at Harley, I went in there and I was like, I'll be running the show in just a minute. Don't worry. And in the first year, I made them $1 million extra profit. That's just what we do.
That we were talking about in the men's group at last night with my pastor. We're doing Psalms, and we were talking about when James the Lesser and all of them were in, the disciples were in there, and they were arguing about who's the greatest. And you know, they're in front of Jesus and they're arguing about who's the greatest.
Can you imagine Jesus being over here like, excuse you?
Yeah, I'm the greatest.
Hello?
You know? So, but he was talking about it, and I said, well, that's what I try to do everywhere I go, is to be the greatest. And that's what I do with being a bondservant, a servant of my Lord and Savior. I try to be the greatest, even though I know God's greater than me, obviously, and there's nobody greater than me, or there's nobody that I'm greater than on earth, but I still strive to be that person in my ministry and talking with people, because when I get to heaven and God says, put everything, and he puts my whole life on the fire, and everything, all the bad burns to ashes, and he says, all right, take what's left and walk into the gates. When he says that, I want to throw my stuff down on there, and when it burns, I'm going to have to ask him for a wheelbarrow to get all my riches in, you know, because I believe that, you know, if you do good, you're building the stuff you do on earth, the good you do and stuff in God's name and for the glory of God, is he's going to entrust you with more when you get to heaven. And that's why it says to don't invest your time into worldly things that'll pass away,
mold and mildew, and
say, you know, for eternal things. And that's what I do. I say I'm working on my eternal things. I don't care about what's here in the world. I care about you guys. I care about the lost souls, and I'm burdened for you people. And where's Albert out? Because I done got off preaching. But anyways.
GT, we're going to read a couple of comments.
Yeah.
GT said, Juby's love for Christ is amazing. His testimony he shares on TikTok is amazing. John Peters said, sometimes God puts people in your path so they can face the error of their ways, or something like that. And then Gogo said, Mando is great. Lake and Lodge said he needs to catch up on Mando too. And your dad said that he commented on that guy that said something about your man bun. I guarantee you there's a man under there. Go get you some.
Yeah, my dad did comment on it. I forgot about that part.
Mary said, good folks here. People are sometimes very unkind online. Helping kiddos understand that words in print are as powerful as spoken words is a tough chore. Wish their parents would learn that lesson. Yeah, parents need to learn the lesson so that the children can even begin to understand it.
Yeah, my dad says he's going to bed.
Yeah.
So
it's 8:35, guys. So if I missed your comment, I'm sorry.
And I kind of figured Gogo was a Mando Star Wars guy too. I got some stuff. I'm gonna message you, Gogo, that I think you would like. That I've just been moving around from house to house. And I think you would probably enjoy it better and have a place for it. So I'll message you and see if it's something you could use, because you've obviously given me
a bajillion things,
more than I could ever repay you. So I'll send you a message when we get off and see if you want it. So, but I love you guys, and I'm here. If you want to talk about God, I'm here to talk to you about that.
God, cars, potatoes.
You know, whatever. Survival, anything.
Our potatoes haven't done any greenery that we can see just yet, so I'm hoping they're down there working their magic under that dirt. Good night, Mom and Dad. Good night, Gunner, Paul, everybody. Oh, and Sideways, I saw you come in, didn't say hey, I'm sorry. So hello
aMAYSing.
and goodbye.
Yeah, he said. He said
And
something.
Anthony, can't think of the last name. I put my email in there. You can get us on Facebook if you don't want to do it through email. Either way, just let me know what your address is so I can get the magazine out to you.
Yeah. So
What's going on?
love you guys and God bless you. And if you need